Today is November 10th. Today's quote is entitled Self-centeredness. Self-centeredness must be overcome to preach. It is the opposite of compassion. So in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada said, compassion is the highest quality of a Vaishnava. And the reason that he said that, if you think about it, you can't be selfish and be compassionate. Well, you can be selfish and go on Sankirtan, and then you'll become selfless. You'll become compassionate, because that's what compassion does. That's the whole movement, the whole mission makes us selfless. So there's two ways to look at it. You have to be selfless to execute the mission, or if you execute the mission, you'll become selfless. But in this quote, we're looking at it from the point of compassion won't develop in a heart of a person who's selfish, because selfishness is really the opposite of compassion. Selfishness is, well, it's all about me. Compassion is, it's all about the other person. So what do we understand from this? Well, one of the things we understand is that as we advance in Krishna consciousness, we become more compassionate, because the more we advance, the more we want to help people, the more we're interested in seeing Krishna consciousness spread. Years ago, I was in Bahrain, and at that time, Jayapataka Maharaj had come. Or actually, I was traveling through Bahrain on my way, I think, to India or somewhere, and Jayapataka Maharaj was there, was coming in that day, or was leaving that day. So I got to take lunch with him. It's maybe 3-4 years ago. And the first thing he said was, "Tell me about the preaching." He just was so interested in hearing about how other people are getting Krishna consciousness. You know, like sometimes when you meet people, you tell them about yourself. You know, especially if we're self-centered, we'll tend to talk about ourselves and how great we are and all the things we're doing so we can impress other people. And he was just interested in hearing about the preaching. I thought that was really nice. Isn't it? You like that? Tell me about the preaching. I want to hear about the preaching. Yes. So, if we want to be more effective in delivering Krishna consciousness to other people, the best way is to really want to give it to people. So when people feel that in your heart, they just open up to that. And when you feel it, you have power. You affect them. And you have energy to give it, because you want to take opportunities everywhere, because this is how you feel. And so compassion is, you could say, the best preaching tool you could possibly develop is compassion. It works for you to empower you. It works for people because they feel it. So the more we become selfless, which is natural progress, naturally is how we progress in Krishna consciousness, so naturally where there's selflessness, where there's compassion is just gonna, that's what's left. When you're selfless, that's what's left. So it's just a thought. Now you can look at yourself. You know, what is your level of self-centeredness? What is your level of compassion? Are you, as Prabhupada said, are you always thinking about how we can give Krishna consciousness to others? Think about these things and see what you think. See how it feels. And if you just feel like, well, I'm so selfish, I always think about myself, then you need, more than anyone, you need to go out and give Krishna consciousness to others, because giving it to others will be the cure for your selfishness. Yeah, it'll cure it. By giving it, giving, you will feel compassionate. Story. I remember this to this day. This was like 1970, 71, Vancouver. We would go house to house, and house to house was very blissful when you'd meet interested people. Not very blissful when you wouldn't. You'd get a lot of doors slammed in your face. But when you met the interested people, it was so rewarding. So it's often hard to get devotees out. They just didn't want to go. But when they were out, they really loved it. And I remember one day we were driving back, and this one devotee said, "Stop the car." She saw a person walking on the street, so I have to give him a book. her compassion was just overflowing from being out all day, that she couldn't stand to drive down the street and see people who could potentially have a book. It was like driving her crazy. I have to give this person a book. So that's what Sankirtan does for you. It awakens your compassion. So it's an amazing process. Hare Krishna.